Hey there, and welcome to Level Up. I'm your host, Alex Morgan. This is the show where we dissect the habits, mindsets, and secrets that separate true professionals from perpetual beginners. If you're ready to stop looking like you're trying and start being the person who knows, you're in the right place. Today, we're kicking off a crucial two-part series. It's born from a question I get all the time, and maybe you've asked it too. Why, after all this time and effort, do I still feel like a beginner? You've put in the hours, you've taken courses, you can do the work, but something's off. Your output, your confidence, your presence, it just doesn't scream expert yet. It's frustrating. It can feel like you're stuck in a loop. Well, in this series, we're going to break that loop. We're going to talk about the subtle, often overlooked mistakes that act like anchors, holding you back from the professional image and competence you deserve. This isn't about raw talent. It's about the practice of being a pro. In part one, we're digging into what I call the foundation flaws. These are internal, often unconscious errors that sabotage your progress from the ground up. In part two, we'll tackle the external, visible mistakes, the ones everyone else can see. Ready? Let's dive into mistake number one. Mistake number one, the obsession with tools over fundamentals. This is a classic, and it's the siren song of the modern learner. I see it everywhere. The aspiring photographer who believes the next lens will make them Ansel Adams. The writer who thinks a fancier app will finally unlock their novel. The developer who chases every new JavaScript framework without mastering plain old JavaScript. Here's the hard truth. Tools are multipliers, not creators of skill. A multiplier of 0 is still 0. When you focus on tools first, you're putting the cart before the horse. You're spending cognitive energy on how to do something instead of deeply understanding what you're doing and why. The professional mindset is inverse. A pro musician masters scales, rhythm, and theory on a basic instrument long before they obsess over a vintage guitar or a premium synth. The tool becomes an extension of their fundamental understanding. The beginner's portfolio is often a showcase of, look what this software can do. The pro's portfolio is a showcase of, look at the problem I solved, the story I told, the emotion I evoked. The tool is invisible. Your action step this week. Pick one core fundamental in your field that you know you've neglected. Is it color theory for designers, story structure for writers, algorithmic thinking for coders, data analysis for marketers? Spend 80% of your learning time on that fundamental this week, using the simplest tool possible. Notice how your thinking shifts. Mistake number two, consuming instead of creating, the tutorial trap. This is the comfortable, cozy prison. Watching that 10-hour course, binging coding tutorials, reading every how-to book. It feels productive. You're learning. You're gathering information. And yes, passive consumption has its place. But here's the trap. Knowledge without application is just mental clutter. It gives you the illusion of competence without the substance. You can watch 100 videos on painting, but until you mix colors, make terrible brush strokes, and ruin a few canvases, you haven't learned to paint. You've just learned to watch someone else paint. The beginner's cycle is consume, 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 maybe try once, get frustrated, go back to consuming. The professional cycle is learn a little, do a lot, fail, analyze, learn specifically from that failure, do again. Tutorials often handhold you to a predetermined success. Real-world problems are messy, undefined, and don't come with a solution video. By constantly consuming, you're training your brain to follow, not to lead, not to problem solve independently. Break the cycle. For every hour you spend consuming content, commit to spending at least 90 minutes creating something, anything, without a guide. Build a tiny project from scratch. Write a paragraph without looking at examples. Design a logo based only on a client's vague email. It will be messy. It will be harder. That's the point. That's where real growth happens. Mistake number 3. Fear of imperfection. Paralysis by analysis. The desire for everything to be just right before you begin. I'll start my blog once I've designed the perfect logo. I'll apply for jobs once I've mastered one more framework. I'll share my art when I can draw like that artist. This is the dream killer. Perfectionism in the learning phase is just fear in a fancy disguise. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being naturally gifted. Let me be blunt. Beginners wait for perfect conditions. Pros ship work. They understand that done is better than perfect, especially when you're building your foundation. A pro designer knows their first 100 designs will be bad. A pro programmer knows their first 10,000 lines of code will be ugly. They do it anyway. They ship it. They get feedback from the real world, which is infinitely more valuable than feedback from the imaginary critic in their head. Your first version is a prototype, not a masterpiece. By holding it back, you're not protecting a masterpiece. You're guarding a prototype that will never improve because it never sees the light of day. Your challenge, this week, release something unfinished. Share a draft with a trusted friend. Post a work in progress online. Submit a proposal that's 90% there. Feel the fear and do it anyway. The relief and the feedback you get will be more motivating than any fantasy of future perfection. Mistake number 4. Isolated practice. Learning in a vacuum. You're in your room, at your desk, head down, working hard. It feels dedicated, and it is, but it's also incomplete. If your entire practice exists in a vacuum, no feedback, no community, no exposure to how others work, you are almost guaranteed to develop blind spots and weird habits. Beginners often think, I'm not good enough to join a community or ask for help. This is backwards. You join a community because you're not good enough yet. That's the whole point. Professionals operate in ecosystems. They get peer reviews. They see how colleagues approach problems. They ask stupid questions. They are influenced and challenged by the work of others. This exposure calibrates your internal compass. It shows you what good looks like in practice, not just in theory. It prevents you from spending 6 months perfecting a skill that the industry doesn't even value. Find your tribe this week. Join one online forum, Discord server, or local meetup related to your field. Don't just lurk. Post one question. Comment on one person's work. The goal isn't to impress, but to connect and observe. So, let's recap these 4 foundation flaws that keep you looking like a beginner. 1. Tools over fundamentals, chasing gear instead of mastery. 2. Consuming instead of creating, being a student, not a practitioner. 3. Fear of imperfection, letting the perfect be the enemy of the good, the shipped, and the learned from. 4. Isolated practice, denying yourself the calibration of community and feedback. These are the silent progress killers. They operate below the surface in your mindset and daily habits. Fixing these won't give you a flashy new skill tomorrow, but they will ensure that every hour you invest from now on yields 10 times the return. In Part 2, we'll move from the internal to the external. We'll talk about the visible mistakes in your communication, your portfolio, your online presence that scream beginner to clients, employers, and peers. You won't want to miss it. But for now, your homework is to pick just one of these 4 foundation flaws, the one that resonates the most, or the one you feel most defensive about. That's probably the one you need to tackle. Focus on it for the next week. Experiment with the action steps. Thanks for listening to Level Up. If this episode hit home for you, please share it with someone who might be stuck in the beginner loop. It helps the show more than you know.